Dear Lord, we thank the opportunity for being together once again to study this book. Master, we apologize for our weakness. We want to be better spirits, better people, but it's really hard sometimes. We feel weak, but at the same time, we know that you are always with us. Every day, you give us opportunity to start again, to forgive ourselves, to be a new person, to be a kinder spirit, a wiser one. It's not easy. Thank you. Thank you, God, for the gospel and all the opportunities we have. Humbly we ask you for be with us today and always. Guide us. Inspire our friend Auguste, who is going to teach us today valuable lessons. Thank you. So be it.
Thank you, Grace, for your beautiful prayer. August, the words with you.
Good night. Today it's our first recorded time because last school the recording didn't function. Yes. So let's begin today the first chapter of the book Paul and Stephen. Okay, the first chapter in this book we have here is called Afflicted Hearts. In Portuguese, if we translate a literal translation, which I prefer in this case, it's flagellated hearts. Yes, we can understand that flagellated means the heart that was whipped. Okay, and that these hearts have suffered. In the first paragraph, Emmanuel begin to tell us. The morning dawned joyfully and sunny, but the main streets of Corinth were nearly deserted. Rebuilt by Julius Caesar, the city was the most beautiful jewel of old Achaia, that region of Greece that we've seen. Okay?
Mhm.
The great emperor had transformed Corinth into an important colony of Romans, in which flowed a large number of freemen in search of the promise of fortune. Jews had joined them, along with a considerable percentage of children of other races. Perhaps in obedience to this heterogeneity of sentiments, Corinth had become famous for the libertine traditions of the great majority of its inhabitants. So we begin in this book to know that the origin of the Jews that come to Corinth and the variety of other races between brackets. that has come to current, that have come to current, uh, based in this heterogeneity. Emmanuel says that they have very different sentiments. He uses smooth words to say that, and then completes as he follows. Tragedy has always been the pain filled price of easy pleasures. This is for all the moments of humanity. Yes,
Mhm.
we see we see today that pleasure is not a problem. It's a stimulus with God to persecute uh, and to live in our lives. But the man, when and the woman, when they follow only physical objectives and pleasures, they forget the most important thing in their lives, that is their spiritual life. We say that the spiritual life, it's made of sentiments, of feelings, yes, of feelings, of thoughts, of internal experiences, and above all these, we've got the activity of our spirits. It's a personal opinion that we our spirits, they have an activity that is too much faster than our thoughts. I say to you, for example, when we have a thought, if we know what we must do or what we want to do, but then we elaborate our thoughts. It's after we know what we want to say and what we already have decided to do. You you do you do you have you uh, observed that?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Follow observing. When we think, we've already decided, planned most of the things, and the thoughts, they are instruments, that are skills, or a kind of skill that our spirit uses to organize and to elaborate our activity, our spiritual activity. So, uh, you see, one thing I would like to say, I will repeat this many, many times. Even the dogs today, dogs, yes, even the dogs today, they aren't satisfied with food, with sleeping, and other physical needs. Okay, the
Yes,
dogs,
true.
I had dogs. I don't know if Graciela or Aline had dogs. They today they ask for care. Yes, if you don't give them care, they are not satisfied. Yes.
That's
Uh,
true.
Yes, who has had a dog and maybe a cat? Observe that. You see, if the animals do that, what we say about ourselves, okay? So the spiritual life, it's the bread of our lives. Yes. And if we give ourselves the best spiritual life, we are feeding our spirits with a true feed. If we give our spirits illusions, we will be hungry of what we need most in this life. But let's continue our readings. Yes. Excuse me for the virgin. So that's very important in this moment that we will be situated in this story, in the time. In the year 34 Anno Domini, the whole city had been afflicted by a violent revolt of its oppressed slaves. So we are in the year 34 of our era, of Christian era. There was a strong revolt of slaves in Corinth, and the proconsul had not hesitated before this grave situation. He dispatched official messengers to Rome requesting the resources. Okay, one point here. Do you know what is a proconsul?
No.
Oh, yes. We will talk about the Roman political system or Roman system of governing. Uh, Later, a little more, but at this moment, we can see we are in the year 34. So we have in this moment a senate is that what is the correspondent of a senate, the place where we have senators in United States.
I think it's the, I don't know, the
Senate,
court. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I
yeah,
understand what you're saying. I just
yes. In Rome, there was a senate, yes, and there was, I think, 400 senators. I don't know if in this year it was this number, but we imagine there were 400 senators. Uh, until the Emperor Augustus or Octavian, it's the same person. We had each year two consuls that were elected to rule Rome. They were the leaders of the Senate. Two consuls, they were senators, they were elected to be the leaders of the Senate. Okay? All right?
yes, it's like the
It's not a
presidente da
president.
Câmara, right?
It's not a president, not a president of the chamber, because they have really too much power. They have decisions, they put them to be voted, but they guided the decisions to rule the country. Yes. For example, if you have the leader of the chamber in the United States, he decides which law he will put in to be voted. Okay, So this is very important because if you choose the law or the decisions that will be voted, you can direct the decisions of that are most important. Okay, there are general decisions about money, about many things, but he has much power than the others. And you see, there are two. This is to avoid a concentration of power. Okay? Uh, when there was, we are not talking about the empire. We're talking especially about the anterior uh, stage or phase that was the Republic of Rome. It's before the year. It's before August, the emperor. Okay. Uh, when they did that, if they sent, they conquered many places. For example, Greece was conquered by Romans. We've seen that. We talked a little about that. That in the year 146, Rome conquered Carthago and Corinth. Yes, 146 before Christ, before Christian era. Okay, that's right, people. Hello.
Yes, okay. I
Okay.
was typing in the chat.
Yeah. So when they conquered these places, they give them the title of provinces. We have the province of Judea, okay, or Judea in Roman, but we say Judean. It doesn't makes difference. Province, or I don't know, province of Judea was the place where is today Israel. There were in province of Judea, there were Judea, Samaria, and Galilee, the three ones. Okay, but to Romans it was named only province of Judea. It's all right. You see, when they send one Roman to rule that province, they called him proconsul. It's a representative of Rome. So it's called not consul, it's a proconsul. It indicates that it's the ruler of Rome in that province. Okay?
Now I understood. Yes, it's clear.
Oh, yes. So, in the phase that was before Octavian or August, it's the same. It was the Republic. After Octavian, there was one emperor that have more powers than the Senate because he had the military power. He had, for example, August. He had money that comes from all Egypt to himself. He was a very rich man. Yes, and he had power and money. He had military and financial power, both of them, and political power. August was very intelligent, yes, because he knew that the senators were scared of the word king. They didn't like kings because senators didn't like anyone that have all the power in his hands. So August called himself the princeps. the principal citizen of the Roman Empire, the one who had the power, but was one of the citizens. Do you see? He's not a king, he's the principal citizen. He's one citizen. He used that to say that he was not a king, but in fact, he had much more power than anyone in the Roman Empire, the emperor. Okay, so we can see that Emmanuel says here the proconsul, we say, the representative of the governor of the of the province, yes, had not hesitated before this grave situation, and he has asked resources, help to control the slaves' revolt. You see, a galley, it's a ship, yeah. A galley, it's a ship, a Roman ship that was used in war in the seas. The Roman galley has a lot of slaves in its bottom that, how do you say, how do you say, grace, help me, how, how do when we
Row.
go,
You mean
uh,
row?
they wrote, yes,
The
they
row.
row, they row, yes, they row to propose the ship faster. Yes, we have many slaves in the bottom. We will have maybe a drawing of a galley, and we will put it here, so we will see a galley bearing the imperial eagle. Yes, the flag of the Roman Empire have an eagle. That's okay. Uh, a galley bearing the imperial eagle, sun brought in its hold authorities on a punitive mission. That's why, on that radiant and cheery morning, the residential buildings and business shops were enveloped in deep silence, half closed and somber. A few days ago, a Roman official had been received by the provincial court to assume the high post as a Caesar legate. He was a representative of Caesar. To those who doesn't know me, I apologize. I am not a native speaker. Yeah. So I hope you understand. The name of this legate was Licinius Minucius. He had been in Corinth and returning to Corinth, where he had been stationed years before, but without a great amount of authority, he was now risking everything in order to increase his fortune. Yes. Now he had, as a representative of Rome, of the Caesar, he was risking everything to enrich himself. Thus, he had initiated a large program of arbitrary expropriations under the pretext of guaranteeing public order. Numerous families of Jewish origin had been chosen as the preferred victims of this wicked extortion. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. when I please ask you when I say okay, you say at least yes, yeah. It's because I don't know if it's all okay. Okay. It was mid-morning when an elderly man with a basket in his hands, heading for the marketplace, slowly crossed a large sunny square. A group of Roman tribunes shouted at him with degrading jests amid sarcastic guffaws of laughter. The old man, whose facial features revealed he was Jewish, showed that he was aware of the ridicule being hurled at him, but he avoided the military patricians as if to protect himself by moving along more timidly and humbly in silence. He went his way. At that moment, thought, one of the tribunes exclaimed rudely, "Hey, you despicable Jew! How dare you walk by without greeting your masters?" The old man froze, pale and trembling. Yes. His eyes revealed a strange anguish, which in its silent eloquence summed up all the infinite suffering that afflicted his race. He bowed respectfully, pressing his long white beard against his chest. Why did you not greet the imperial tribunes? Sir, I did not dare. Did not dare. And before the old man could explain himself further, the imperial mandatory closed his fists and began to pummeling the venerable face with successive merciless blows. Here, take that! He exclaimed rudely at the roar or laughter from his buddies. Keep this as a souvenir. Loathsome dog, learn to be grateful and show some good manners. The old man thrilled but didn't fight back. He spontaneously glanced, glanced at his arms, wrinkled from struggle and suffering, and realized how useless it would be to retaliate. His gaze, then, was similar to an invisible dart that would forever pierce the conscience of his disrespectful and evil aggressor. Uh, at this time, I would repeat that we are reading not all the book. We choose some phrases, some parts of the book that allow us to to know the story and to unite moral and a lot of teachings that us as human and common human beings, we say, could think and talk together in this story. Okay?
Mhm.
Anything at this point? Aline, Grace?
So far, so good.
Oh, yes, that's right. For what reason and for how long would the Jews endure being persecuted by the world's most powerful? Nonetheless, they sincerely loved that Father of justice and love who watched from heaven, while other peoples had squandered their spiritual strength. Israel had kept the law of one God, making an effort in every circumstance to keep her religious heritage intact. He had been widowed when the same Licinius Minucius, quaestor of the empire years earlier, had established abominable procedures in Corinth. So, these Licinius, when he was before in Corinth, he was a quaestor. A quaestor is a magistrate of Roman Empire that was responsible for having for collecting taxes to the Romans. Yes,
Okay.
and then uh, he he established, Emmanuel tell us, abominable procedures. Jochebed's own large personal fortune had been drastically reduced, and he had to suffer unjust imprisonment, causing him great grief and costing him the extensive confiscation of his properties. So Joshadab, this old man, was rich, but Licinius Minucius stole him. He was, uh, uh, although he was in the of Roman Empire, he stole a lot of properties to himself.
Mm. August, Aline is asking in the chat if it was like Matthew.
Yes, we see that in Roman Empire, the ones that collect taxes, they are called quaestors. Uh, in Judea, yes, they were called publicans. Matthew was a publican. Yes,
Okay,
he
thank
was
you.
in Judea. Okay, Joshadab's wife could not bear the successive blows that had mortally wounded her sensitive heart, and they brought her to her death. She could not stand with what was happening to his husband and died. She left him two children who were the crown of hope for his laborious existence. Jezeel and Abigail. Anything by this time that you would like to tell?
Well, so far, it's very interesting to understand how things worked. And yeah, it's really clear. Thank you.
Yeah. The memory of home, where the tender love of his children fed his fatherly hopes and relieved his bitterness. Joshadab had barely finished then buying some fish and vegetables in the market when a patrician official got off and unrolled a large scroll while the voice of the strange figure rang out loudly. Licinius Minucius, imperial quaestor and legate of Caesar, invites all inhabitants of Corinth who consider themselves to have been harmed in their personal interests to appear tomorrow at noon at the provincial palace next to the temple of Venus Pandemus in order to express their complaints. So, Joshadep was in the marketplace, and an official read to those who considered them uh, to have any debt to go there in the next day. So, the representative of Caesar, Licinius Minucius, would hear them. Okay?
I think it's a trap.
Well, have you read in this book?
No, not yet.
But that's a good bet. Yeah. We see Joshadeb, encouraged by high hopes, began to walk home, choosing a longer route. Yes. He didn't want to find the officials, okay, the tribunes. He had not gone far when another group of Roman officers appeared before him. Ah, Samson himself, now the target of demeaning comments expressed in sneering laughter and concerned about avoiding another confrontation, he bowed deeply like a miserable slave. And murmured timidly, "Hail, valorous tribunes of Caesar!" A hard-looking and gruff officer approached him angrily. "What is this? A Jew impudently addressing patricians. He has the condemnable tolerance. Oh, excuse me. Has the condemnable tolerance of the provincial authorities gone so far?" And blows once again struck the aching face of the unfortunate man who had to concentrate all his strength on the will not to fight death in desperation. Without a word to explain himself, however, his look reflected 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 the intense revolt he held in his oppressed soul. Well, you see, if you don't say anything, they blow you. If you say, and if you bow yourself and say and to them something, they
Mhm.
blow you too. So he was revolted. Yes, it's he noted that this time blood was gushing from his nose, staining his white beard and his plain linen garment. Away with you, you cur! Joshadep staggered away, suppressing the explosion of his extreme despair. He felt in, in his heart, he felt in his heart the old word of the law: you shall not kill. And yet, the teachings contained in the voice of the prophets advised him an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. His spirit harbored the intent of reprisal, but his physical strength was not up to the requisites of the reaction. Yeah, people, you see that we see something that's very important here. We have the First Testament or the Old Testament in the Bible. Okay,
Yeah.
this one is the Bible of the Jews. Yes,
Mhm.
and when you read the Old Testament, you have many problems because uh, you read there as he say, "You shall not kill," but in this time, you read there that any act of uh, evil committed by a man against other may be replied. Yeah. So when we read about that, we say, what should we do? You see, there was a very confusing way to them to know what to do. The Gospel according the Spiritans by Allan Kardec have in its first chapter, uh, it's called let's see the title here. Uh, I have not come to destroy the law, and it brings the versicle from Matthew that say, "Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill." This is Jesus talking to the Jews. Uh, it's very, very important then that we understand that Jesus have come to establish a, a law, a definitive law that have some basis and that we can easily describe. Anyone that knows the gospels can describe which is the main part or the spirit of the gospel. So you see, the gospel uh, it's ruled by the law. Yes, it is, but it has the love as the perfect complement of the law. Uh, we have, as we see in the Gospel according to the Spiritism, uh, that the Old Testament, it has a small part that is a divine revelation. Yes, for example, in the Ten Commandments, we see that we have a God that's unique in his perfection, and then that must be thought and meditated about his uh, inspirations to us. In the Ten Commandments, we also have the other commandments, the seven other commandments. The three first ones are related to God. The four, the six other commandments, they tell us to respect the other human beings. Yes. And we see that Jesus have brought to us that we must uh, try to live one life in which we try to have justice in our hearts. But the guide to this justice is the love to ourselves, to God first, to ourselves, and to the others. So let's come together to the reading of the book. So in this time, there was not the gospel, but we see that today in the world, the man they do not follow the law of God because they follow only the human justice. They do not follow the love that is inherent to the law of God. Do you know Gandhi, that Indian man?
I know.
Okay. Gandhi saying about that part of the law, if it is an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, everybody will be blind and without teeth.
That's
Yeah?
true.
It's what's happening in the Middle East. It's happening in many places of the world. Yeah, because if one kills one person in one place, the comes from this place, the man from this place comes to and kill one other man, for example. Yeah, we see this in the epoch of Moses was a law that would tell about a justice, because it may have happened, for example, one person of one tribe goes and kill one person from another tribe. Okay, and then the tribe comes all together and kill everyone of this tribe. So there won't be anyone of the tribe that first killed to kill anyone in their place. So it begins a war to avoid when there was a death, many deaths. Maybe the rule in this time of Moses said that that killed would might kill to in reprisal. Okay, that's
Mhm.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the time of Moses, we see uh, Moses probably lived in 1200 before Christ, more approximately in this time. Before that, the Mesopotamians in the 8th century, we say 1800 years before Christ, in which in the place that is today is Iraq. They have laws that were similar to those of Moses. Yes, in Louvre in museum we have a code of Hammurabi. It's a code of law. It is still between us because it is in stone, yeah, in a black stone. Um they have a similar system of law. For example, if someone have infringed a penalty, a damage to other person, the other could damage this one. We see in the law of this time that there was physical
Punishment?
punishment. Yes, it was usual. It's as is it today in some places as Saudi Arabia. Yes,
Mhm.
if a man stole there, he have his hand cut. If a woman commits adultery, she is stoned. Yeah.
Mhm.
The law of this place is similar. The law of Moses of Muhammad is similar to the Mosaic law in that time, 2,000 years, 3,000 years ago. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So let's go. Joshadeb staggered away, suppressing the explosion of his extreme despair. He felt in his heart the old words of the law. Ah, we've read this. His Joshedep, his modest house was not so fair. He strode down the path that ended at a rustic gate, but he was thinking, hadn't he worked all his life? Hadn't he been an honest man in the smallest deeds of his life, so he would never lose the title of being righteous? Then we will have another important person in this story. Yes, uh, I had not time to send the speeches of Abigail, but uh, next lesson, next meeting, it's better. Next meeting, we will have Abigail in a new voice here between us, not me, okay? A loving voice cried out urgent and frightened. Father! Father! What's this blood? A young girl of remarkable beauty ran to embrace him with immense tenderness, while taking the basket from his trembling and aching hands. Abigail, in the candidness of her 18 years, graciously summed up all the beauty of the women of her race. The most impressive feature of her slender, girlish figure was deep black eyes, which seemed to speak of the highest mysteries of love and life. My little child, my dear dogger, said Joe to them. It's important that until Sunday you read this first chapter until the place where we will be, because there are many details that I am not saying, I am not reading, okay? And you will see how the story is impressive to us. She called her brother Jeziel to hear what had happened. The young man came running promptly and concerned. He listened to his bitter tale word by word as he embraced his father. Jeziel could not have been more than 25 years old, but the seriousness with which he has expressed himself led one to see a noble spirit, judicious and served by a crystal clear conscience. Take heart, father, he said. Courage, father. Our God is just and wise. Let us trust in his protection. Jochebed hoped to perceive at that moment indignation, filled as he was by the desire for revenge. Son, said Jochebed, the Lord is full of justice, but as his chosen ones, the children of Israel also must exercise justice. You see, uh, he's calling uh, to Jeziel to say he must, or Jeziel could do justice by their own hands. Could we be just if we were to forget the offenses against us? I could not I could not rest if my conscience was not clear for having fulfilled my duties. I must point out the wrongs to which I have fallen victim both now and in the past. So tomorrow I shall go to the legate, he says, Licinius Minucius, to settle my score. The young Hebrew made a gesture of surprise and added, "Father, wasn't he, Licinius, the questor, the same patrician who confiscated your large estate and threw you into prison? Can't you see that he has the power of evil in his hands? Shouldn't we fear a new attack to extort what little we have left?" You see, Grace, that his son is uh, thinking as you. It must be a trick to take them and many people that have been extorted in the past to go and have new extortions.
Mhm.
Tomorrow, Joshadeb said, "I shall take the advantage of the opportunity the provincial government has given us." Okay, I think for today we can stop together. I may have 2 or 3 neurons in my brain, okay? And 1 hour of talking in English, the neurons begin to fight each one another in my brain. These 2 or 3 neurons, okay? Uh, so maybe we may think of reading alternatively Grace and me. What do you think, Grace?
I think it's okay.
Yeah.
I just do not have the book yet.
Oh yes, but you can do it. You have that digital form. You can do it tomorrow or Saturday. It's only to go to Amazon and see there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. After the class, I will talk to you about that. I tried
Ah,
it, but
yes.
I couldn't. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Aline is there. She's still there.
Yes, I am.
Oh yes. She slept very much when he was not shown to us.
Yeah, I
Hera,
was listening your interpretation. Don't worry. I listened all.
oh yeah,
Was perfect. Thank you.
yeah.
Like always.
Her eyes are very small. You see, yeah.
Yeah. No. I was not
Uh,
sleeping.
Grace, it's hidden there, but it's okay.
Yeah, Grace is sleeping. She's doing a high in her
Mm.
sleep.
No, she was answering. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
um, as we read the book, it was just the beginning.
Mhm.
Yes, we will have many things to talk about.
Yeah, many surprise ahead.
Yes,
Yeah.
many surprises. Yes,
No spoiler, but
yes.
yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
but for today,
mhm.
we see that now we have. I would I would say to you, and that maybe you read the first chapter of Gospel according to the Spiritism, saying about the Old Testament. It's very small, yes, about the Old Testament, the New Testament, and the Spiritism. Yeah, as we said in the last meeting, that it's difficult to understand the justice of God without thinking about reincarnation, and about future life. Yeah, we see the Greeks, for example, they said, well, the old Greeks, okay, when we will sleep, we can observe that our spirit goes out. Yes, and they have this intuition that when sleeping, the spirit is free. But it was as the Jews, the old Jews, and we can say most of the people of our world, they doesn't know about the spiritual life. We say about the, how is it when we die, and we have many more possibilities that we have here if we have lived a good life. Yes, we are here, we say, taking a very simple words as children in a school. Yeah, if you have a teacher, for example, Grace. Yeah, yes, there are few people here. We are three, in number of three. We are pioneers in this effort here. If we are three people here, we have some Aline or Grace to take. If Grace have his children as students, and one of these two when and one child is a very revolted child. He begins as it rarely happens with children, but that children he begins to beat the other. Oh, ah, and give punches in the other. Children don't do that. They are angels. Yes.
Huh.
If one children do that, and Grace sees that just these children may harm the others, uh, she will control this child more than the others. This is uh, uh, this is as God does with us. If we goes against His law and kill, for example, another man, in the another reincarnation, we may have not be uh, an arm. Yes. So we will have to think that we should not do harm to the other person. This is the law seen by the, I won't say evil side, but the side of ignorance, of revoltation. Yes,
Mhm.
Yeah,
but
it's like sorry, August, if you allow me just to make one comment. It's like we are in one class and we are not a good student, and our fame precedes us, and the next teacher will survey us more. So
yeah,
we're gonna be more under supervision,
under
right?
supervision. Yes, and we maybe have physical
Mm.
or mental problems because we are being
Abusive, abusive about.
no, because our consciousness uh, uh, says to ourselves, you must pay, and you must learn how to live between your uh, others. Yes,
Mhm.
between the other people. So uh, people most of the time only see this bad side of the law because we are not used to do the good things. So it's important that in this end, we think that the law, it functions in a very strong way in the positive side, in the good side of the law. If if someone is almost killing himself, and we hear a person, we give this person sometimes some minutes of silence, and we can so give us another side of the life, and with we have success in returning this person to the way of life, the right way of life, that is excuse me, that is to have the real life, the life of strongness, the life of happiness. So we can talk to this person, and he comes again to this way. We will have many, but many more happiness in our life than if we leave it alone in that day. Yes.
Mhm.
If Grace or Aline say to some children, and and lives in a right way, and say to that children, "Oh, you must do and respect the other." Oh, my child, you must think sometimes. Yeah, you shouldn't do that. And if you leave, it's very difficult today. And if you, sometimes and frequently, you must talk to the fathers and say, "Oh, we must have a reunion. We must have uh, uh, some demands, and some accord here." And Grace
Yeah.
can educate that person, not in one day, but all over 1 year. She will have many, many credits of happiness to her life. Yes. Uh, so we must not to think in the law only in the side of ignorance and revolt, but we must this week think about the good side of the law. We can finish today.
Yeah, thank you very much, August. We're gonna do our final prayer, and we thank all that are watching now and also after with the recording. And I hope see you all in our next meeting. Let's raise our thoughts to God. We thank you, God, for this moment, these precious moments of learning, of improving our character. We thank you, Lord, for your patience with us, children, in this school called Earth. We hope that we can increase our grades by good behavior and also with our efforts. We hope we can attain the higher sphere of heaven. Forgive us, God, for being sometimes so selfish and pride and proud Help us help each other. Help us to have a discipline, to have love for what you do daily. Help us, oh Lord, to find our way to you. Be with us, God, today and ever. So be it.